People who were engaged at one point but never got married. What happened? He wasn't participating in the wedding planning at all, and I realized he didn't actually want to get married. There was a lot of pressure from his family and admittedly, me as well. I just wanted a family and to be married and hadn't really paid attention to his reluctance up until that point. It was 3 months before the wedding and I sat down and reviewed our relationship. We were incompatible in several crucial points, even though we loved each other a lot. So I called off the wedding and ended it, and while we were both sad, we were also relieved. This was more than a decade ago, and whenever we run into each other we catch up and there are no hard feelings at all. He's married and a father now, and I couldn't be happier for him. Turns out she liked vagina as much as I did. He left me for a coworker he claimed for over a year was like a sister to him. They have a kid now. I have a better boyfriend. We had like 6 miscarriages. At the end of the relationship he said something to me like, "It's just so hard. I look at your face and I feel like I see nothing but 6 dead babies. Can't really come back from that one. I mean, some people can. We couldn't."
Cheated on me, a lot.
The longer we lived together leading up to the wedding, the more he showed his true colors. One day while I was cooking dinner for us, he started screaming at me, like an inch from my face, and called me a "See you next Tuesday." Something about it snapped some sense into me. I walked out and never went back. It was toxic. And a month before we supposedly got married, I broke my foot at an event I was helping. She was there too, but just partying. When I told her I probably broke my foot, she said I shouldn't be a little baby and just walk home since the party was over. I couldn't stand on it. She helped me a couple meters forward and then she just pushed me. That night my mother took me to the hospital. And that night I decided all the lies and mental abuse was enough. And ended it. Best decision of my life. 3 months ago, and I'm finally getting back to being me. He left me 6 months before the wedding. In his defense, he did pass away, and one day I will probably be really angry with him for it. The Holy Spirit came to him in a dream and told him that he couldn't marry me because I wasn't a virgin. I finally left him after he hit the dog. Years of hitting me both physically and emotionally were ignored. But the moment I heard my dog yipe, I smartened up. I had a friend who was engaged. One day, she had a fight with her fiancé and drove from his house mad. On her way home, she ended up in a bad car accident. She tried to call him several times. Wouldn't pick up. Her family tried. Nothing. Her friends tried. Nothing. His friends tried. Nothing. His family tried. Nothing. Dude was quite serious about giving her the silent treatment. Needless to say, she didn't think he handled that well and broke it off. She moved home to Germany to care for her dying mother. And by dying mother, she meant some oil sheik she met in Dubai. She left me for our young lecturer. Got engaged to my pregnant girlfriend. 4 months before the wedding. She calls it off saying she doesn't feel the love anymore. A week after that, I came home early from my second job to surprise her and see if we can work things out, and found her in bed with the guy who would have been my best man. Turns out they've been shacking up for 6 months and she planned to leave me for him as soon as he broke things off with his wife, who was to be her maid of honor. I decided to speed up the process by telling his wife what I found, and instead of leaving her, the guy ditches my fiancé to try to salvage his marriage. Cancer took her before we got married. It will be 10 years in December. After my dad died, my mom got engaged to another guy. She told me years later that she never intended to marry him. But she was a bit traditional and thought it would make her look better if she were engaged to a guy she was living with. No idea if the guy had the same idea. They broke up 7 years later and I haven't talked to him since. We graduated from kindergarten to grade 1. Biggest heartbreak of my life. I got sober and recognized some things that helped me realize I didn't want to marry that person. Still sober and happily married to the love of my life. She had been fighting depression and went to stay with her family a little bit before marriage. But she started having horrible fights with her family and had a mental breakdown 2 months before the wedding and said she wasn't able to handle being a wife or in a relationship and ran to be single and disappear. She died due to seizures. 3 a.m. She was home alone. She woke up and got the seizure and unfortunately hit her head against a wall. 7 a.m. She was supposed to show up at her parents' house to drop off the dog before work. She didn't. 9 a.m. Her parents went to check on her. Dog was fine, but she was unresponsive. 9:15 a.m. She was declared deceased in the scene. 10 a.m. I was at work and I got a call from her father. I lost it right there. It was back on 2012, but still I'm not over it yet.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.